You're listening to the We Are Libertarians podcast network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com.
For those of you listeners who know my background a bit, you might remember the stories of my first few jobs after college. From being a mall cop to selling makeup door to door, I realized that I had skills that were being underutilized and that these minimum wage jobs couldn't support me or last forever. I spent years going through YouTube, reading books, listening to podcasts, and taking enough online courses to reinvent myself as a professional copywriter and digital marketer. Years later, thanks to my side hustles and drive, I've worked with national news outlets, multi-million-dollar tech startups, nonprofits, and celebrities to build their brands and drive sales. None of this could have happened if I didn't develop in-demand skills. I had to do this alone, but you don't have to. You have Hustlers University 2.0. Hustlers University 2.0 is a community where you can learn real skills to earn money online today, starting with side hustles you can use to elevate your game. I'm not just an advocate for Hustlers University, I'm also a student. Every professor is verified to be making $10K to $500K monthly in their selected field. You get full resources, lesson plans, and an active community of thousands of other Hustlers University students working on skills such as stock analysis, cryptocurrencies, e-commerce, copywriting, which was my favorite course, one I actually went ahead and took last month. And as a copywriter of 7 years, I even took a ton out of that, including some of the resources I was able to take over to my day job. You also learn freelancing, financial planning, affiliate marketing, business management, and so much more. If you're tired of depending on a boss who hates you to deliver your paycheck, or have learned since the lockdowns that controlling the source of your income is vital to your individual freedom, sign up for Hustlers University 2.0 today using the link in the show notes. I'll see you there.
Freedom you dream of in your lifetime. You're listening to On the Run with Remzo W. Martinez.
The sky is falling, the sky is falling. Bitcoin is falling, Ethereum is falling, all cryptos are falling, the stock market is falling. A lot of things are falling, therefore they must all be scams. They were always bubbles. You were so smart for just hoarding everything in cash and never getting involved in any type of assets outside of your 401k, which you have no clue what to do with it because you just hope that your boss is maybe contributing, 3 to 5%, and maybe one day you'll just live off of that. So of course, just work your way until you're 65 and so on, and you only had your one stream of income, and you never invested, you never did an ounce of research, you never took a little bit of a chance. You just got that stockpile of cash, and you have your little 401k, and you might have to work maybe 24 to 32 hours a week, but that's just how it is for most people. The same people that say shit like that, the same people that believe that type of stuff, they're the same people who are always like when any, and I say Bitcoin, but I'm saying it like small b Bitcoin, like I'm talking about all crypto in general. When it's doing really, 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 really well, you're like, maybe I'll put $100 here. I wish I had bought the dip. And then when it starts to go down and we're seeing a dip and it's a great opportunity to buy in, it's like, oh, it's falling apart. And then you panic sell, and then, Michael Saylor or JP Morgan, somebody, they swoop in and take your Bitcoin. It's a tale as old as time. We're going to be talking a little bit about that today. It's after Father's Day, so I felt like I should do somewhat of a Father's Day episode. Of course, happy Father's Day, happy day after Father's Day to all the fathers. Special, happy Father's Day to my father, Remzo Sr. Happy Father's Day to my father-in-law, Robert. It's a great opportunity just to be thankful for all the fathers and father figures in your life. Maybe you're a father figure to somebody without even noticing it. But today we're going to talk a little bit about a letter that somebody wrote to their daughter. And I thought this ties a bunch of things together. We've been talking about how to survive in a stock market crash, in a recession. I haven't done a specific episode about that since January, when talks of this were really happening. Because as I've had to tell many people who have asked me to do updates on that, I have not changed how I've invested. Have I exited out of some stocks in order to put that cash into better producing ones, better producing cash flowing ones? Yes. Have I maybe gone a little bit more into one type of asset over another? Yes. But all in all, I'm doing basically the same thing. I'm dollar cost averaging into the market, into very high performing, historically very, very high performing ETFs. I'm continuing to go a bit into Bitcoin and a bit into hard assets. And I did go into real estate through FundRise, which if you want to go ahead and get a real hedge against inflation, you want to get into real estate today, go ahead and check out the FundRise link in the show notes. You get $50 when you sign up using the link in the show notes. When you sign up and start getting invested in commercial and residential properties with FundRise, I could tell you that of all my different investments, of all my different assets and all my different accounts and everything else, the best performing one that has helped me really get through the turbulent times we've been in is my exposure to real estate through FundRise. So get $50 just for signing up through FundRise in the show notes today. But as I was saying, my principles have stayed the same. If anything, because I had multiple streams of income, I was able to use all that additional cash to really buy into certain things. I really bought into Ethereum recently. When Ethereum was under $800, I went very heavy into Ethereum. I went very heavy into things like Coca-Cola, Bain Capital, Booz Allen Hamilton. Of course, none of this financial advice. I'm just a guy you listen to on the air, and I could be entirely wrong, so please do your own homework. But, staying into Bitcoin, staying into crypto throughout this has been incredibly important, because especially as we're seeing record high inflation, everything, and obviously you're listening to this show, you're a smart person. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and just shut up. I want to go ahead and read you this letter, and I'll include a link to it in the show notes. I'll read throughout, and I'll just add my thoughts here and there. But if you want to go ahead and read the whole thing, you can go ahead and read it in the show notes today. Before we continue, you might hear a washer and dryer go off. You might hear some sneezing in the background. I'm actually recording just through my laptop. My sweet, beloved wife is a little sick right now. She's been under the weather, so I've been tending to her today. And she's been awake long enough to watch 90 Day Fiancé, so I'm recording from the bedroom while she gets to enjoy a little bit of R&R. Hope she feels better. So if you hear that, if I sound a little bit different, that is why. Anyway, let's continue. A letter to my daughter on Father's Day. I was wrong about Bitcoin. And this is over at Bitcoin Magazine by Will Skolkoff. If you ever listen to this and I screw up your name, I promise I screw up a lot of names. Not intentional. Dear daughter, follow Bitcoin's principles. Don't just listen to me. Do your own research. And this is an opinion editorial by Will Skolkoff, author of The Bitcoin Dog and soon-to-be father. So he's writing a letter to the future. Let's begin. I was a computer science student at UCLA when I first heard about Bitcoin in 2013. Skeptical of this new magic internet money, it wasn't long before the Mt. Gox exchange implosion would confirm that skepticism, illustrating just how important it is to have self-custody of your Bitcoin. At the time, however, easy to use cold storage hardware wallet solutions were not yet available. So I made the mistake of giving up, deciding then and there it was not worth the work to learn about Bitcoin. I was wrong. While you have yet to be born, my heart is already warm with your love. As I reflect about this upcoming Father's Day, my first as a soon-to-be father, I can already picture myself holding you in my arms. You're swaddled in a cute little onesie and a floppy-eared hat. As I rock you side to side, I nudge your nose with my nose. Who's Daddy's girl? I whisper in your ear. You are. My eyes swell with pride. A smile beams across my face when, to my surprise, you struggle to reach your hand out and grab my nose. Your tiny little fingers are barely able to grab on. Today, as I sit in a rocking chair, the one in which we will rock back and forth with you in my arms, I look out your nursery window and ponder the world I will bring you into. A world where cold storage, hardware, wallet solutions are readily available. I think about all the goals you will set, your dreams, your ambitions, but I don't want you to have it all. Not too easy anyway. While I do want the best for you, I do not plan to hand it to you on a silver platter. Sorry. Everything loads. You see, I'm a real professional would just cut this out and scroll down and then read, but no, you're stuck with me. I really killed the mood. I apologize. That was really sweet. This man's a good writer. Good writer. Not many Bitcoin people can eloquently write. He's a good storyteller. As your father, I'll raise you to be a young woman who works hard for what she wants, and you have to control your own destiny. To have the opportunity to succeed, to chart a path so engaging, so enthralling, so I can't believe this is really happening, that you will gladly give blood, sweat, and tears to your passions without blinking an eye. As it stands, however, you lack the financial freedom to do so. While I so keenly wish you could be born free, your career choices, as it is for most young men and women in our society, remain locked in a cage by inflation. I fear that the knowledge of net income handicapped by soaring rates of inflation will lead you to purposely limit yourself. That, in turn, you will handicap your own capacity to develop your creativity, refusing the forms of self-expression and that reflect the fire in your inner spirit. Out of necessity to overcome inflation via high-paying role, you may feel impelled to trade your passion for ruthlessness, to sacrifice your life dream for the life of a beast of burden, one who needs to let out a mighty roar to break free of the cage of inflation. Bitcoin fixes this. Bitcoin is the key that lets you calmly unlock the door to walk peacefully out the cage. While the pennies in your piggy bank will never stand a chance against inflation, you will be able to stack sats, and these simply can't be inflated away. You will be free to pursue the life you want, whatever that life may be, and save for your future too. My beloved daughter, you are your own person. You can float like a butterfly or sting like a bee. The choice is yours. By living on a fiat standard, a unit of account that's controlled by central banks with a money supply artificially increased as desired, your wings will be fighting a headwind of inflation. But if you opt into the Bitcoin standard, you will fly free. Through Bitcoin, you are free to choose the career that best suits you and your lifestyle. With the confidence, you are now equipped with a savings technology capable of holding the value of your work in a long term. Since you're my daughter, I'm sure you will share the same critical thinking skills as your father. Though, in all honesty, hopefully you'll take after your mother in this department. She's the real critical thinker in this family. Innately, you know not to blindly trust me, but instead to verify my Bitcoin claims for yourself. Even Daddy, despite his computer science background, first approached Bitcoin as little more than unproven software algorithm, swiftly dismissing it. It took another 8 years, but I did finally lean in for another look, more than a cursory one, this time, and then only to appreciate Bitcoin for what it really is, a once-in-a-civilization monetary revolution. I already hear you thinking, if Daddy is super powerful, though, why can't he change Bitcoin's supply? Dear daughter, this is my reply. Follow Bitcoin's principles. Don't just listen to me. Do your own research. There's so much about Bitcoin for you to learn. Find out why no more Bitcoin will be created once you're a little older. Not 18, but 118. All that there is in the world, all that there ever will be. Just remember, my daughter, if you do opt into Bitcoin, there is literally no limit to your potential. Daddy will always be proud of his little girl. Love, Daddy. And this is sweet, and maybe you have to be kind of a Bitcoin nerd. Maybe you have to be a crypto guru to really appreciate this type of stuff. But, I mean, we're seeing it now more than ever. As I mentioned, my wife is watching 90 Day Fiancé. In this current season, there's a guy from Caracas, Venezuela. Let's look at Venezuela, where they've been, forced to exchange, whatever the currency from Colombia is. They're using that. They're using golden nuggets. They're using Dash crypto, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash. They're trying to find ways to survive because the truth is that the petrodollar was an absolute fail, and the Venezuelan bolivar is worth less than the gold in World of Warcraft. And this is something that, as Americans, when we look at Bitcoin, we treat it like a game. We treat it like it's something that we can just hold on to forever. But that's very nearsighted, because for many parts of the world, even in our own hemisphere, this is a life-saving technology. This is the difference between you being able to buy food and medicine and not being able to buy food and medicine. When we look at what's happening throughout here in the state of Wisconsin, it's not very public, but there's a thriving crypto community scene, because here in the Midwest, we have just been crushed by inflation. We've been crushed by stagflation, in which the money supply rises and the price of goods and services rise, not just because of that, but because they're having to pay for more labor costs because you don't have enough people working. And they keep telling us that the labor participation rate is lower than it was, around the time that COVID hit. But the truth is, it doesn't appear that way. It's hard to get people to work. Bitcoin is the only thing making sure your money's not just completely disappearing. One Bitcoin will always be one Bitcoin. Don't look at the price of Bitcoin and think that's a reflection of Bitcoin. One Bitcoin is always one Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin right now is always a reflection of the trust in the US dollar, and that goes for any cryptocurrency. But you look at this and you're still thinking, well, I don't have the money for it. I don't know what to do. We're getting to a point where, and I don't know how many times I need to say this, if you didn't radically change the way that you think, if you did not radically change the way that you live after COVID, then none of what I'm telling you will help you if you're just going to say, oh, well, I don't think I have the ability to do it. It's not about Bitcoin. I did an episode about a year ago called Why You Shouldn't Get Into Bitcoin. And the principles are essentially, you don't have multiple streams of income to justify the expense into it if you're going to buy it and not mine it. Secondly, if you need the cash on hand because you don't have enough income right now to carry around a budget for emergencies and stuff like that, and you feel that you would have to immediately liquidate your crypto, that's why. And third, if you don't understand it, it doesn't, crypto and Bitcoin and everything, it is complicated, but it's not like obscenely difficult to understand. I consider myself a pretty C-average American, and I think I understand it pretty well. The big thing is we're getting to a point in time where institutional investors, the big banks, big corporations, big individuals, when you are selling your stocks, they're buying their own stocks back at a reduced rate. When you sell your Bitcoin, when you sell your Ethereum, your Litecoin, all that stuff, they're not. That's just the truth of the matter. Cathie Woods, and full disclosure, I did own ARK ETF, but I did sell it because I feel like as an ETF, it was not performing it the way that I wanted to. And Cathie Wood has made some claims that, while I do really respect her, I think she may have been a bit more, she may have looked at things a little bit naively. I do agree with her that the odds of us hitting $100,000 Bitcoin within the next 5 years is far more realistic than hitting zero. What we're dealing with right now is a situation not seen in any other point in human time. For millennials, this is our fourth, big financial disruption in the economy. And, I see a lot of people just doing the same thing. You're falling back to comfort. You're falling back into the slave mind of work 40 hours for one income, spend 2 weeks a year, away from your office, hope maybe you'll have enough money to buy a house, but then it's not even really your house unless you follow the Dave Ramsey method and you buy it in cash. You're just parking your socks in a building that the bank owns. It's not your home, it's the bank's home until you own it outright, much like everything else. When you own your Bitcoin, you own your Bitcoin. Nobody else owns it, nobody else touches it. It is completely yours. That's freedom. That's where we're going with this. There's a bit of a short episode, but this is it. Don't make decisions out of fear. Don't panic. Don't do the things you think you need to do just to get by. Sometimes it takes a little risk. Sometimes it makes more hard. Sometimes it takes more hard work. But if you go ahead and you build better habits now, you're going to succeed. And I bring it up probably a dozen times during the week. But if you're not part of Hustlers University, you're not getting the knowledge you need to make the best decisions. You're not getting the feedback and opinion you need to go ahead and understand how others are dealing with the same situations you're in. You're not getting the resources you need to go ahead and leverage the great abilities that you have to unlock. They're already within you. You just got to figure it out. Sometimes you need a nudge. Sometimes you need a little bit of support. And Hustlers University is doing that for 60,000 students and rising. And I'm not just saying this as some paid shill, because I'm not paid to go ahead and talk about Hustlers University. I'm telling you this as a student. I was there for a month, and I thought I got everything I needed out of it. And 6-7 months later, I'm still here. People have been like, well, Remzo, why don't you have your own course? Why don't you have your own stuff? I don't need to. Everything's already in Hustlers University. I come to this show every Monday, every Thursday, and I tell you exactly what I'm doing. It's in the show notes. You want to save money? Go ahead and hook up a credit card to Dosh. You get cash back without even thinking about it. You want some free stocks? Well, guess what? We've got Webull and Robinhood. You want to go ahead and get some free Bitcoin? We've got some Coinbase links. You want to get into real estate? Bam, $50. I am giving you the resources you need to empower yourself. And some people keep thinking, oh, well, I don't know. I don't feel good about this. I'm sorry. If you've been listening to this show for more than 3 episodes and you're still wondering, you should probably stop because you're wasting your time. That's just how it is. There's something else for you to do out there, but this is the show for people that are going to take the next step. But of all the things I tell you to go ahead and get involved in, I can give you all the free cash, the free crypto, the free stocks. I can give you all the free stuff, but it doesn't matter if you don't do anything past that. And Hustlers University is where you're going to go ahead and get mentored by more than a dozen millionaires who are experts in their field, who are taking time out of their day to meet with Hustlers University students one-on-one and in groups, and they're actually teaching you how to put in the work. There's a kid making $45,000 a month going ahead and slicing up Andrew Tate TikTok videos and throwing an affiliate link there, and that's all he does. And you might think, oh, well, he's just making TikTok videos. No, that mofo is making TikTok videos every hour on the hour, and he's putting in the work. You're not going to go ahead and get anything for free. I think when people think passive income, they think, oh, money while I sleep. But guess what? A lot of time and effort had to go into that for that to go ahead and work and start generating that cash flow. Even as we speak, I'm starting new businesses. I'm investing in new ventures. I'm investing in myself. Everything that I said that I was doing in January in preparation for this bubble, in preparation for this market crash, in preparation for this recession that we knew was going to come when they shut down the greatest, most impactful economy on the face of the planet in 2020, this was going to happen. And for those of you that have been here with me since the beginning, you've been prepared. I hope I've helped you along that way. I hope that we can go ahead and survive these tough times together. Not just survive, but thrive. But for many of you waiting, you're thinking, oh, it might be too late. Guess what? It's better to go ahead and start right now, this second, right as soon as you're done listening to this episode, and get a little started than wait. And then think with the intention of getting through the hardest times, because that is where the best reward is. Hustlers University is going to help get you there. It's helping me get there. It's helping 60,000 other people get there. And for all the things you could spend $49 a month on, understand this. If the product brings you more than the fee, maybe it's a pretty good freaking product. Go ahead and sign up using the link in the show notes today. I'll see you inside. Folks, we're going to get through this, whether it's an easy time or a hard time. These are the times that test our strengths, and we're going to get through it together. As always, I'm Mr. W. Martinez. Be safe, be good. Good night.